The rain was a cold, rhythmic drumming on the windows of Arthur's small bookshop. It was nearly midnight when he finally turned the sign to closed. Outside, the world was a blurred smudge of gray, except for one spot of gold. Under a flickering street lamp sat a golden retriever. He didn't move, he didn't bark. He just stared at the empty road with eyes that looked like they had memorized every car that passed for a century. Around his neck was a frayed leather collar with a faded laminated note. "I will return. Wait for me." Arthur felt a pang of cold that had nothing to do with the weather. He tried to whistle the dog over, but the dog, whom Arthur later named Cooper, didn't even blink. He was a statue of devotion. For weeks, Arthur became the silent guardian of the guardian. He brought out bowls of water and expensive kibble, but Cooper would only eat once Arthur went back inside, as if he didn't want to be distracted from his watch. Arthur began asking around the neighborhood and eventually found Mrs. Higgins, an elderly woman who lived in the Victorian house at the end of the lane. She told him the story through a cracked door. The house across from the lamppost belonged to Oliver, a retired sailor. 3 years ago, Oliver had been taken away in an ambulance, shouting to his dog over the siren, "Stay, Cooper, I'm coming back for you." Oliver had been moved to a care facility 3 states away, trapped by a long recovery and a world that had forgotten him. But Cooper hadn't forgotten. Through the scorching heat of July and the bone-chilling winds of January, the dog remained. He was a living landmark of a promise. Arthur began sitting with Cooper on the curb. He found himself talking to the dog about things he hadn't told anyone: the loss of his wife, the quiet loneliness of the shop, and the fear that the world was moving too fast. Cooper never replied, but his steady breathing and warm presence were more comforting than any therapy. Then, on a Tuesday that started like any other, a rusted silver sedan pulled up to the curb. The door opened slowly. A frail man with a cane stepped out. His eyes were exhausted, his hair gone white, but his eyes were searching. Cooper didn't bark. He screamed, a high, melodic sound of pure recognition. He launched himself into Oliver's arms, nearly knocking the old man over. Years of waiting ended in a single, breathless moment of reunion. Arthur watched from the shop window, tears blurring his vision. He realized that while the rest of the town saw a stray, Cooper was actually the most grounded soul among them. In a world that celebrates moving on and forgetting, Cooper chose to stay. He taught Arthur that faithfulness isn't about the absence of pain, it's about the presence of hope. True love doesn't demand a spotlight, it just waits for the door to open.